Well, hello, my little cool cats and kittens. Hope you're doing well. It is 10 minutes till 10 o'clock on this. Oh, guess what day it is? Hey, Mike. Guess what day it is? Just remember that commercial, don't you? Somebody does, because I was just looking at an old clip of spoofing that commercial not long ago. Somebody in here, though, I'm sure remembers watching that. Good morning, Jason Hamilton. Hello to Aline as well. I'm a little ahead of the notifications going out today, so I apologize. I'm not in sync today. I'm just kind of off the rails. You know what I mean? Not exactly off the chain. Just kind of not in sync. I got to get everything lined up. Everything's misfiring on me today, but it's Wednesday. I think that's supposed to be the case. We all feel that way. All right, so here's what we're going to do. As everyone gets logged in, obviously we're going to cover the storm setup. Right now, I'm thinking at the moment about three potential storm waves or MCS potentials that we could see. Before you get too concerned, it's not all bad news with that. And then we'll get into some great news at the end there. All right, you guys got the commercial. Good morning. Hello to Ellen. Hope you're doing well. David, because that commercial was annoying. You're right. It was the Hump Day commercial from Bonus Points, if you remember when or who that commercial was from. I'm sure you will. Hello, Judith, watching from YouTube this morning. I hope all is well for you. Appreciate you guys watching on YouTube. Quite a few of you late, even a few of you watching on Twitch. I know it's a gaming website, although it's becoming more of IRL of a site now. So we are trying to reach out to those that use that site often. I'm a big Twitch fan. Yes, I play video games. I know I'm like 80, but still. The little kid in me won't go away. It always is in our hearts forever and ever. All right, so let's get right to it. And we'll kind of backtrack a little bit if we missed anything on the setup. I do want to cover real quick. This is Ernesto. Hello, Ernesto. Located now on the northern side of Puerto Rico and on the eastern side of the Bahamas. It is a tropical storm still at the moment, but boy, it's up there. It can't get too much closer than that to get to hurricane status. The forecast track for it is to continue to track to the north, become a hurricane. Bermuda, not in a good spot. Bermuda, most of the time, is in a good spot every time of the year, except for hurricane season, and they're always in the bad spot. And such a small island, but boy, they seem to love targeting Bermuda, right? So we have several camera feeds actually in Bermuda, so we'll be tracking to see the impact. Sometimes they're not as bad as what you think because the island is so small. The track is significant on its impacts being significant to them or being just a really intense storm, which they're very accustomed to in Bermuda. So there are a lot of questions still on how that will play out versus if this was heading toward a state that's larger than an island. There's a lot more damage potential, right? A lot more of an impact. So Bermuda is a little different ballgame there, but we'll be watching it. Overall, it looks like it'll stay out to sea. If you got cruises, though, this week, your cruise line should be fine. They'll be swimming or there'll be, I guess, boats swim, technically. They'll be flying on by these tropical systems in the western side there of the Caribbean into the Bahamas and West Atlantic, but it may be bumpy. So take the Dramamine. You may have a bumpy ride for the waters there for a while. All right, for us, well, it's nice out. In fact, we've got almost a glass feature of the Ohio River right now from the sky to the river itself, near calm conditions. I love that. It's perfect. Let me show you real fast. This is the throwaway there at the Fair and Expo Center. They've been setting up all week. Yes, my eyes have been going right into anything that is deep fried in the foreground. Although I will say, you see the Oreo truck. I'm not a huge fan of deep fried Oreos. Maybe I need to try them again. But I wasn't sold on them. Deep fried Twinkies I loved. But really just a good old-fashioned corn dog and elephant ear. Elephant ear over a funnel cake, always for me. You don't find elephant ears very often, but I'm excited just to eat the food. But we'll be right there in that corner on Tuesday for Wave News Day at the State Fair. So hope you guys will come out and say hello. It's senior day again this year. So we may see a lot of familiar faces. I'm not sure what time I'll be out there, but I'm sure it'll be about this time all the way through the afternoon. So I'll be out there. So, all All right, so there we go. Life shot into downtown. So let's move on. Let's get into the quiet step again today. Although you look to the west, you still see some clouds that are blossoming there into the western part of the state. But I'll tell you what, the high-res modeling really did great on nailing a flash flooding setup here last night, because we've been tracking this band. It has been intense on Futurecast for about a week. I mentioned this yesterday, that it was signaling for a while that it was going to be a little more over southwest Kentucky. And then as models kind of grabbed the idea, they were aiming more and more of a north-south band feature here that would form in Illinois, Missouri, into Arkansas. And it did indeed form. So modeling did a good week out on picking out heavy rain and flash flooding for this area. There's nothing catastrophic, but still picking out those events far in advance is key, because we really need to have more data to know how well modeling is doing and picking out these anomaly events. Well, that will stay to our west, but the flow, especially with this piece up here to the north, will start to allow for another round of cirrus clouds. They're going to be thrown over us today. That'll give us a little more of a hazy setup today, but a very summery feel, upper 80s, mid to upper 80s. So about on par for what you would expect. Look at all the moisture levels in that area. I mean, very, very deep moisture there along these rain bands, but we're just barely in the humid zone. The more north and east you travel, it feels better than it does even here in Louisville. It feels better in Cincinnati. So it's not overly high humidity, but it's your average amount. And then you get to the northern part and you get the spin that's ongoing. Well, that's key, because that spin, low pressure that's driving all this on the southern side, boy, that's a bad spot to be in Omaha, in the northern areas of Missouri. And that is exactly where they have the slight risk that is out today for some severe weather that will break out in that area. Now, some of the activity as it forms will make a run at us at times, about tomorrow morning. I don't think it's going to survive very far, as you're about to see. We could get a few more development, a few more showers to develop in the afternoon. It's possible. And then we have a marginal risk, which is for Friday morning and really Friday night. And Storm Prediction Center has stated that there is discussion on upgrading some of this to a slight in future updates. Okay, so why all the confusion on the outlooks and timing? Well, it's the same thing we just came out of on these MCSs, but where they cross over time zones, date lines, and SPC outlooks. Because SPC outlooks, when they're drawing these slight risk, marginal, all that stuff that's drawn up, that applies for a 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. window that they're looking at, or 8 a.m. to 8 a.m., excuse me, that they're looking at for severe weather. So they don't always capture the events that happen. I personally, I think an event in the afternoon for severe weather is much different than one that comes in at 4 in the morning, but they treat it the same as far as their outlook that comes out for that calendar day, if you will, or that window. So I think that's where it gets a little confusing for you guys, the viewers. So it's our job to try to explain this as best we can. And that's why when I see outlooks that are out, I always say don't pay attention to them a whole lot until you get a little closer, because that's when they really focus on the event a little more than the broader scope of the chance. That makes sense. Probably not. Okay, so here we go. Tomorrow morning, storms are breaking out into Illinois. They move to the south and east. They weaken at 1 in the afternoon. We have a band of showers and storms. These will be fairly elevated. But if I were to stop the radar right here on Futurecast, 1 in the afternoon, remember your gold and red areas are fuel, and you see this complex of storms that is weakening and tracking to the south and east. Where do you think it's going to go? I want you guys to actually type this. All right, I'm going to give you guys a quiz. Pop quiz, number 2 pencil. Scantrons only, please. Where will this complex go next if I were to move it a couple more frames from this point on? Knowing what I always blab about when it comes to these complexes of showers and storms and them acting like Pac-Man all the time when they move through the Ohio Valley. Carrie says, over me. South toward the go there, south, everyone, Cincinnati, okay, Paducah, all right. Well, here we go. Let me go ahead and advance it a few more frames, and it goes technically southeast, but south, I'll give you south. Yes, it fed right into the higher dew point and fuel, which was located in central Kentucky. So it looked like, again, it was heading toward the city. It took that dive. So that's what we're expecting for tomorrow, is a weakening area showers. About the time I'm on tomorrow with you all, we should have an active radar in the area. It may be still around Indy, but it'll be close. They'll be fading out, sagging to the south. As always the case, though, when these fade out, Do they have enough of a window to work with to redevelop again in the afternoon? Right now, this version of Futurecast says no, there's not going to be enough time. So therefore, the only daytime issue we'll have will be a band of showers moving in for lunch that will kind of slowly stagger their way out into the south, and then we're done. Now, knowing what we just went through, we saw that several times. The models either bet on the idea of weakening or did not account for redevelopment in the afternoon. So we have to be fully aware of that. But right now, I think this is fair for what the modeling has done. But notice at the same time, you see how the fuel took another spike, boom, right up into Illinois. And look what happened. Storms redeveloped. Round number 2 has now developed now into Thursday night into Illinois, Missouri. I bet you guess where that's going to go. Heading to the east. A little more sloppy because, again, we didn't have a ton of fuel ahead of it. So it's kind of like eating up whatever it can. If I were to back this up another frame, you see there is some that tries to form in advance of it, but it just kind of eats it alive and then just kind of becomes a big blob. This is not really a severe weather signature for Friday morning, more just heavy rain and maybe flash flooding. But that's the next wave that comes on by. And then we get to the final game here. Look how much fuel there is Friday afternoon. A lot of that gold showing up as well. Here comes the front through Indy. And then it tries to bring in a broken squall line Friday night near midnight into Saturday morning. So that would be the last and final round on the severe side. There is one more chance to get maybe a Saturday afternoon shower that could develop on the backside of that low. But I think as far as anything severe, this is the main one. The other two rounds, I'm not sold on severe weather right now. And that's why we don't have alert days that are out, because I don't know yet if they'll still be able to have enough fuel to be severe. They may very well be elevated, what we call them, because they're arriving early in the morning hours, and they're mainly just flash flooders that take place. So at the moment, we are not overly concerned on the severe side of that, but the one Friday night could be a different ballgame. So if there's any alert day set up as it stands now, to me on the data and on paper, this is the one, the last of the series that we'll have to watch. Okay, type 17, if that all makes sense to you guys. Okay, so Thursday morning through about lunch, small chance Thursday afternoon, Friday morning for rush hour, mainly heavy rain, and then Friday night late, which means there's a good chunk of Friday daytime. There's nothing going on. And so you don't have to cancel your plans here, guys. But those are the windows that I'm giving you guys that we need to watch, each little ripple that comes on by. All right. And then finally, we're done. We get a front through here. We have a chance to relax. Let me show you real fast. This is, I believe, this is the Euro, and I'll get into CSU. There's Ernesto, by the way, out to sea. You can see it easily to see it there into the Atlantic. Notice, though, another round of cool air, cooler than normal, lower than normal humidity levels that arrives. You won't really notice it on Saturday. You should by Sunday. You should really notice it on Sunday. And as it settles into the area for early next week, I mean, this is going to be really nice, fair weather for the area. So I really hope you enjoy that. Get out to the fair, especially the end of the weekend. Even this weekend's not going to be terrible. Saturday's the only one you got to dodge a shower or two. And any rain shower on Saturday is limited to maybe 20 minutes in duration. I mean, it's very, very brief stuff on Saturday, if anything at all. So don't worry about that. But Sunday will be good as well. Lower humidity. Monday, Tuesday, the day we're out there. We'll hold on to this for Wednesday, maybe even Thursday. But by Friday into the following weekend, we may have to deal with the system for the last weekend there, the fair. We may have to deal with some showers and some storms. But that's a pretty good stretch of state fair time period without any excessive heat or severe weather to worry about. Pretty awesome. Could be a record crowd this year. We'll see. Your severe weather potential from CSU, breaking each day down. Here is today's tomorrow's concern, pretty broad, right? And then you get into Friday, Ames roughly along the Ohio River and south. And a lot of that, again, is going to be the Friday night event. And then you can see it takes a U shape with the front, carves its way through the area, clears us out of the severe risk. Same story as we head into Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. We're out of it. We're out of all the maps. And that is nice to see. I love when we are able to do that. Okay. Any questions I can answer real fast, and I got to run. So snow, no snow. But TJ, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I've been teasing you guys that I've been working on this map that I think about the fall setup into December, especially the fall into December, because I'm seeing a very distinct pattern. I'm seeing some analogs that I can maybe work with here. And I rarely do this, guys. I rarely do this. I will put out maps in like, I don't know, Farmer's Almanac or something showing you the winter outlook. I'll do that in the summertime, and those are fun. But to actually put out a forecast thought this far in advance for the season, I have never done that. So I'm going to do it this year, and it may be very soon that I'm going to do it. I haven't finished yet. Now, before you get all excited and jumping up and down thinking this means Brian's going to call for 2 feet of snow, I'm not saying that. I just am giving you a big nugget of what I think is a developing pattern that I do think is interesting that will lead to the winter forecast, which will be Halloween night. There you go. I'm always fighting for you guys, for you snow lovers out there. I'm fighting for you, but I don't want to wish cast. I know I get accused of that a lot, but I'm not going to wish cast. I'm really trying to put in some thought in this, and some of it's going to be good, bad news, and some of it's going to be bad and good news. That makes sense. Some of it's just going to be news. Yeah, but I will share with you guys my thoughts. I will try to give you as much of a heads up the day I decide to show it. It'll be here live, so no one's going to get on social media. You'll be the first, but you got to be watching. Okay. Brandon, real quick, we'll get your question in since it's about something I've been talking about. Since Friday is coming in later and evening and night, would have more for you to work with. That's exactly the reason, Brandon, is the others are arriving at 6 a.m. They become elevated. The bases are higher on the storm, so you cut down your tornado threat right away on that. You can still get some gusty winds and some small hail, but mainly just loud. Thunderstorms, some flash flooding. But when you move them into an environment as more evening, late evening especially, there is still enough fuel around. They can be a little more what we'll call rooted. More the bases are lower to the ground, your severe potential can go up. But as you saw there in Futurecast, it wasn't a solid line. It was broken. That's the only thing I'm not sold on yet as well for an alert day on Friday, because if it's a broken line, it could be very well broken right through our area, right? And we miss out on not only severe weather, but even getting rain. So, and that has happened more times than I can count. So I don't want to jump the gun on that one. Let's give it some time. More time in the oven on that one. And I promise you, well, as soon as we are putting out alert days, it's our confidence is going up on a certain scenario, and we'll explain that. If we are not going out with alert days, then I should tell you that our confidence is very low, and there's still a lot of questions that we have to get answered. Okay. Okay, one final question from Carrie. What did you think of the movie Twisters? Well, that's a whole other blog discussion I feel like I can do with you all, and maybe I'll do that. You know, Carrie, I'll do that because I have 2 blogs that I'm going to do with you all that is not really weather related in a sense. I have a special treat for you all, 2 special treats coming up. I'm doing a lot for you guys lately. I should be getting paid more because I'm doing a lot for you all here soon. That is not in my job description. I got 2 special treats coming up, and one of them may be this. I'll explain more in time, but let's hold off on that idea of Twisters. Give more folks a chance to see it too, because I don't want to be a spoiler alert. But we will be talking about Carrie. So thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate it. All right, guys, I got to run. You guys are awesome. Let me show you as I leave here the 10-day. If there's any questions on that, let us know. But I think it's pretty self-explanatory where we've got, warm, humid weather, obviously, showers and storms. We'll be watching each one of these waves. As you just gathered from the blog, though, they are not all-day events, all right? They're coming in waves. So there's going to be dry time in between each one, and some sun will come out too. So it's not all bad news, but we just need to be on guard with these day and night kind of setups. And then we'll break out of this pattern as we get into the early part of the weekend. Beautiful weather for a good chunk of next week, and maybe more rain toward the end. All right, we'll leave it at that. Have a good one, everyone, and I will see you guys coming up on midday.